This manhwa tells the story of the emergence of monsters into the world that bring destruction to the earth. But all of that ended when the 13 gods fought the demons, and the 13th god had the most. This time we will tell about a manhwa entitled A Disaster Class Hero Has Returned. This manhwa tells the story of the emergence of monsters into the world that bring destruction to the earth. But all of that ended when the 13 gods fought the demons, and the 13th god had the most powerful power of the other 12 gods. Envious of the 13th god's power, the 12 gods planned to trap and kill the 13th god to rule the world. And can the 13th god named Lee Gun survive the trap? Let's start the storyline. Starting on the last day of the 20th century, the peace on Earth suddenly changed. Because of the arrival of a disaster that is difficult compared to the disasters that humans have faced so far. Humans fell into great chaos because they had to fight incredibly powerful creatures. Creatures from an unknown civilization appear suddenly. The world is engulfed in panic as these creatures try to feed humans. Humans call this creature of unknown civilization a disaster. The emergence of disasters can appear anywhere and anytime in all corners of the world. Human resistance with modern weapons and even nuclear cannot defeat disasters. In the end, disasters continue to destroy the earth without anyone being able to fight back. But their hope arose from the 12 gods of the Zodiac. We call them the divine gods. They give the blessing of awakening or awakening to 12 selected humans to receive power directly from the divine god. These 12 chosen people are called saints, but unexpectedly there is a 13th awakener who appears without getting the blessing of any of the 12 Zodiac gods. Even so, he was included in one of the saints. They know him by the name Lee Gun. After the awakening of the 13 saints, humans started to be able to fight back. The 13 sciences then decided to join forces and planned to form a place where the most terrible disaster that massacred humanity gathered there. That place is called Demon Tower. The day before the raid to the Demon Tower, Lee Gun was seen having a meal with one of the saints from the Sagittarius Zodiac named Hugo Otters. Hugo says, "Listen carefully, maybe, tomorrow you will die. Disaster this time is very terrible." Lee Gun answered, "Why you suddenly said that? It seems you want me to die." "Okay, I know you're worried about me. But just so you know, the number of disasters I've killed is way more than the 12 of you. You think I'll die there? That's impossible." The next day, 13 saints had gathered to kill Crimson Eye, who was the leader or key to the disaster. They had gathered. Up front in the Demon Tower, Lee Gun, who possessed the most strength, stood at the forefront. With eyes filled with conviction, he said, "Let's start the battle." So they started coming in. When the raid took place, the other saints could only be silent and looked annoyed because they saw Lee Gun easily kill many disasters. They said if we managed to kill Crimson Eye we would get a big reward. "Hey Lee Gun, you must need a lot of money. Only with money can you restore your handsome face and injured body. Later you also have to remember in the future, don't go straight to the scene when a disaster appears in the city. We need more victims first so that they reward us with abundant money." In his heart, Lee Gun said it sounded good calling them saints, but they are just selfish people. On the way, the saints were taken aback. They felt a great power and saw the figure of a disaster above them. They know him. "Behold, it is the ruler of this tower, Crimson Eye." Seeing a giant-sized disaster with 3 eyes, Lee Gun looked at him. Can't believe that just by looking at him, he already felt this pressure. Crimson Eye Roar felt the pressure of the power energy, and the saints panicked. A crack shatters the earth. The Crimson Eye emits a torrent of fire until it penetrates the tower. They were all frightened, and the saints then ran away. Lee Gun looked surprised at them and said, "You guys have no shame in calling yourselves saints." Lee Gun started to move. "The one who will defeat Crimson Eye will be me after all." Lee Gun started to move. He jumped and swung his sword right near Crimson Eye's head. Luckily, Lee Gun managed to kill him so badly that he lost one of his arms. Here Lee Gun was angry because the saints left me. But luckily I managed to kill Crimson Eye. While running out of stamina, suddenly a dagger stabbed into Lee Gun's body from behind. His body then fell into the abyss. In his mind, Lee Gun said that the person he thought was running away actually stabbed him from behind and threw him into a trap with no way out. At the bottom of the cliff, to be precise. Inside the tower, Lee Gun was shocked by the gaze of a disaster. Seeing Lee Gun laugh, my left hand was broken and my right hand also couldn't be moved. With the strength of the pain, Lee Gun took the dagger that stabbed his body and stood up straight holding a sword and dagger in his mouth. Without fear, Lee Gun started to move. He jumped and gave an attack. Lee Gun then continued to fight all the time against the disasters that were there. Time flies. In his death, he says actually how long he has been here. What is the situation outside now? Is the flow of time inside the tower and outside it different? Now my only wish is to keep on killing because this place is a special trap that can raise disasters endlessly. It can be seen that countless disasters surrounded him now. Lee Gun stared at them. "You guys think just enough numbers to kill me. You guys just wait for me to get out of here and behead you saints." Meanwhile, in a place outside the tower is being held a big press conference regarding the certainty of raid to Demon Tower. Seeing the reporters had gathered, they asked what exactly happened. "How come only 12 of you came back? What happened to the Korean hero Lee Gun? Seeing one of the saints talking at the front, he said Lee Gun had died in the tower. Lee Gun sacrificed himself for humanity. The saint looked very sad, but inside he said otherwise. Of course, it was a lie. As time goes by, 20 years later, a disaster stands in front of Lee Gun and looks very scared. Disaster said it was impossible. How did you get to this place? Lee Gun looked at him. Looks like you are the last disaster, and then kill him to get out of this place. The appearance of Lee Gun now has changed a lot, with an aged face but with strong muscles. After defeating the last disaster, suddenly the place rumbled. And at the same time Lee Gun couldn't hold himself back, he fell and said, "Is this the end of everything? Can I get out of here now?" Ruins began to rain on Lee Gun's body. In a place where the city was destroyed, 2 people were seen running and being chased by disaster. It's over for us. Now the prediction is correct. It was said that Manhwa would meet an incredibly strong monster today. The 2 people then fell to disaster's attack. They were surrounded by a horde of disaster wolves. In his heart, someone said if only Lee Gun survived the demon tower, surely this disaster in their class is not a problem. It turns out that they are in the city where the demon tower is located. A light suddenly came out from the demon tower's door. A huge explosion occurred. The 2 of them were shocked because the demon tower in front of them was destroyed. Look, a human is coming out of the ruins. The figure of a man with a strong body standing among the ruins. That man started to grow. "How dare you all betray me to the point of dropping me into a trap? Now all of you will die." The man directly fought the all-wolf there and took him down easily. The 2 people trapped in the rubble kept wondering about the man in front of them. Look at this, you can't believe it, even though the orange class disaster is a disaster that bothers the upper awakened class. But the man jumped and killed him very easily. The man then landed near the 2 trapped people. They both panicked. "Wait, why do you love us? So you are humans? Alright, now the disaster has been cleared." The 2 of them thought that the man in front of them had come from inside the tower. Isn't that great news? Suddenly a gigantic disaster wolf appeared in front of them. The 2 humans panicked and said it couldn't be the master of the wolf disaster from earlier. The disaster wolf gave off its powerful aura. The wolf was enraged and immediately spat out an attack from within its mouth. A big explosion occurred and surprisingly the man was still standing untouched by the disaster. The man jumped and with one punch managed to topple the attacking disaster. The man then looked at the 2 people behind him. "Hey, you guys, now go buy me some food." The man smiled as if he could all with clothes for himself. The 2 of them then took this man to a place. They were shocked because seeing the food bill spent by this man was very crazy. The 2 men were surprised and asked who they were. The man replied that he was just passing by. The man again asked, "Who are you? It seems you are not an ordinary person. Why can I feel the magic from you?" A person named Gion said, "Of course, because he was a student." "Aren't you also a disciple of an awakener who received a blessing from a god?" The man answered, "God. Why do I have to serve them?" while holding a spoon and looking in the mirror. The man looked shocked and felt uneasy. Then when looking in the mirror said, "What happened to my body? My whole body recovers." It turns out that man is Lee Gun. "Now what happened to my body? These wounds on my body should be difficult to heal. And now that I look like this, my left hand is also back to normal." He suddenly felt astonished because, in his left hand, there was a snake symbol. The symbol suddenly reacted and became a snake. Lee Gun looked very panicked. Suddenly Lee Gun saw a screen like a system. It contains you experiencing death, and you achieve the impossible. Your abilities will be transferred to a new body. All achievements from the tower will be changed to experience. You create a Zodiac skill. All skills and unique trade zone will be transferred and evolved. Now you can use the power of Ophiuchus. You can see the power of the snake coming out of his body. Lee Gun's cooking was slowly brought into the other dimension. Inside his body is seen now he is floating in front of a snake. Lee Gun, who didn't understand, tried to touch it. And after being touched, suddenly a light came out. Lee Gun then regained consciousness. He fell and was surprised. Lee Gun asked if you 2 saw a snake. The 2 men replied that they did not see any snakes. You just undressed and ran to the mirror, then screamed after holding hands. Lee Gun wonders why other people can't see it. Suddenly a message from the system appears again containing you are now the owner of Ophiuchus. There are many messages from the system. Lee Gun, owner of the seat of the 13th god and many others. The current active skill is Super Regeneration, and the transferred skill is Saint's 13th Battle Good Instinct. Skills that can be used crafting Eye of God Creation Workshop. Class F Super Regeneration. All injuries received by the body will be restored. The newly created body has a small penalty or penalty. Physical ability decreased by 50%. Remaining cooldown time is 1032 hours. Lee Gun began to analyze and said that the change in my body was thanks to the skill of this super regeneration. Never have I heard something like this from other saints. Besides that, I also can't feel the presence of the gods. Now that my body is recovering, it's not a bad thing. All I have to do now is kill the saints that are running away and destroy the saints that stabbed me. Lee Gun was suddenly more excited. The collapse of the demon tower immediately shocked Korea and the world. Reporters and investigators had gathered at the ruins. Two people were standing there and saying this is collapsing. Could this be the doing of a follower of Lee Gun or a student who hates Lee Gun? I don't know. Besides that, the disaster that died there was a high-level disaster that even saints were troubled about. Now we have to confirm while waiting for the truth. Meanwhile, on the other hand, reporters who kept looking for news about the collapse of the Demon Tower were seen gathering at a press convention. The reporter asked Master Yang Wai give his opinion on the collapse of the Demon Tower. Do you think there's a chance that Lee Gun is still alive? Seeing someone stand up to speak, he is one of the saints of the Aries Zodiac named Yang Wai. No word on the matter, he then left the press. In the car, he keeps mumbling about whether Lee Gun is still alive. If that's true, then it's impossible, because it's been 20 years since the incident happened. It's been a miracle a saint managed to get out of the Demon Tower. How could he survive? His body is also damaged, but if he is still alive, then everything will be over. Yang Wai looked very annoyed. At an airport, someone just landed and was greeted by the security team. Welcome, it was an honor to meet one of the 12 saints in person. It turned out to be Hugo Otters. He came here because the Prime Minister wanted to see him. While on a trip, Hugo heard the news about the collapse of the Demon Tower. In his heart, he said again, reporters always talk about conspiracy theories about Lee Gun. It's been 20 years, and unexpectedly an unknown number called him. Hugo ignored the incoming call because he was still thinking about Lee Gun. Hugo remembered the previous raid to Demon Tower. In the past, I don't know exactly what happened inside, because Lee Gun told me to face the disaster outside the tower. But I was really surprised because the other saints who came in with Lee Gun turned out to leave him and only came back with Crimson Eye's head. And since then the whole world proclaimed 12 saints including myself as heroes and gave us power and strength. After the raid on Demon Tower, Hugo searched for Lee Gun many times, but no result till now, until Zhang Lui of the Cancer Zodiac came up to me and said, don't tell me again that Lee Gun is still alive. It doesn't make any sense if you're worried that much, just look for yourself. But that meant that there would only be 11 saints left in the end. Hugo, who had been thinking about it, then received a call from the Prime Minister regarding the news about the Demon Tower's collapse. Hugo replied, I have heard about it. But sorry, if you asked me to look for Lee Gun, I refused. Lee Gun had already died in the Demon Tower that day. That's not what I wanted to say. The Prime Minister said that he heard the news that I received from the Korean government if there is an unknown incoming call in the name of Lee Gun. Hearing that, Hugo was surprised. Was all that true? Stop the car now, then don't tell me the incoming call I received just now was Lee Gun. Hugo checked his cell phone again and saw 30 missed calls. Hugo tries to call back, and Lee Gun's left voice says that he will revenge. Good luck. Hearing this, Hugo was very shocked. It was impossible that voice was indeed Lee Gun's voice. Meanwhile, Lee Gun, who was in Korea, Lee Gun was seen still in the restaurant with the two people he saved. Lee Gun looked confused as to whether you guys called this thing a smartphone. Very interesting stuff. The world is a better place. The person replies, so this is your first time using a smartphone.